The moon is currently as hostile to life as it gets. The remaining water is trapped in ice or rock. Sometimes it's dry and airless, with temperature swings of hundreds of degrees wherever the sun shines. But when was this? That's a whole other story. Hello everyone, welcome back to Elon Musk Evolution, where we bring you the most recent news about Elon Musk and his multi-billion-dollar companies. In today's video, we're going to take a look to what Elon Musk just leaked, and it's that the Earth's moon is habitable. But before we begin, make sure you subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon so you don't miss any of our amazing videos, and let's dive in. Although the moon is currently uninhabitable, life may have existed on its surface in the ancient past. According to Dirk Schultz-McCooch, an astrobiologist at Washington State University, there may have been two early windows of habitability for Earth's moon, according to a study published today in the journal Astrobiology. Musk explained. According to Schultz-McCooch and Ian Crawford, a professor of planetary science and astrobiology at the University of London, environmental factors on the surface of the moon were sufficient to sustain simple life forms shortly after the moon formed from a debris disk 4 billion years ago, and again around 3.5 billion years ago during a peak in lunar volcanic activity. Planetary scientists believe the moon emitted large amounts of superheated volatile gases, including water vapor, from its interior during both periods. According to Schultz-McCooch and Crawford, this outgassing could have resulted in pools of liquid water on the lunar surface, as well as an atmosphere dense enough to keep it there for millions of years. We believe the lunar surface would have been at least transiently habitable if liquid water and a significant atmosphere were present on the early moon for long periods of time, Schultz-McCooch stated. The research of Schultz-McCooch and Crawford, according to Musk, is based on findings from recent space missions as well as sensitive analyses of lunar rock and soil samples, which show that the moon is not as dry as previously thought. Hundreds of millions of metric tons of water ice were discovered on the moon by an international team of scientists in 2009 and 2010. Furthermore, there is strong evidence of a significant amount of water in the lunar mantle, which is thought to have been deposited very early in the moon's formation. The early moon was also likely shielded from deadly solar winds by a magnetic field. Life on the moon could have evolved similarly to life on Earth, but the more likely scenario, according to Schultz-McCooch, is that it was brought in by a meteorite. The earliest known evidence for life on Earth comes from fossilized cyanobacteria 3.5 to 3.8 billion years ago. The solar system was dominated at this time by frequent and massive meteorite impacts. Meteorites contain various simple organisms, like cyanobacteria, that could have been blasted off the Earth's surface and landed on the moon, Musk stated. According to Schultz-McCooch, determining whether life originated on the moon or was transported from elsewhere can only be addressed by an aggressive future lunar exploration program. One promising line of investigation for any future space missions would be to collect samples from deposits from the period of heightened volcanic activity to see if they possessed water or other possible indicators of life. Furthermore, experiments in simulated lunar environments on Earth and aboard the ISS could be conducted to see if microorganisms can survive the environmental conditions predicted to have existed on the early moon, Musk explained. However, according to Musk, researchers discovered that parts of the moon have stable temperatures suitable for humans just recently, so our chances to live in the moon have just improved slightly. According to new research from planetary scientists at the University of California, Los Angeles, the moon has pits and caves where temperatures stay around 63 degrees Fahrenheit, making human habitation a possibility. Despite the fact that much of the moon's surface fluctuates in temperature from 260 degrees during the day to 280 degrees below zero at night, researchers believe these stable spots could change the future of lunar exploration and long-term habitation. These pit-shadowed areas may also provide protection from harmful elements such as solar radiation, cosmic rays, and micrometeorites. With such extreme hot and cold temperatures, a day or night on the moon is equivalent to slightly more than 2 weeks on Earth, making long-term research and habitation difficult, Musk explained. Some of the pits are most likely collapsed lava tubes. According to Tyler Horvath, a UCLA doctoral student and lead researcher on the study, approximately 16 of the over 200 discovered pits are more likely the result of collapsed lava tubes, tunnels formed from cooled lava or crust. The researchers believe the stable temperature is due to overhangs inside these lunar pits, which were discovered in 2009. David Page, a UCLA professor of planetary science, and Paul Hain of the University of Colorado Boulder are also members of the research team, Musk stated. The researchers focused on an area about the size of a football field in a section of the moon known as the Mare Tranquillatus. using images from NASA's Diviner Lunar Radiometer experiment to determine the fluctuation of the moon's pit and surface temperatures. They studied the thermal properties of the rock and lunar dust in the pit using modeling. Musk stated, "Humans evolved in caves, and we may return to caves when we live on the moon," Page said in a UCLA press release. Other challenges to establishing any sort of long-term human presence on the moon include growing food and providing enough oxygen. So why hasn't anyone lived on the moon yet? Solar storms, razor-sharp sand, and near weightlessness are only the beginning. To begin with, the moon lacks a genuine atmosphere. According to Forzik, it has a pseudo-atmosphere called an exosphere, which is a magnetically suspended mix of gases and particles stirred up from the lunar surface by solar wind. However, the elements that make up breathable air float around the moon in infinitesimal concentrations compared to Earth. Taking a deep breath would be as dangerous on the moon as it would be in space, Musk further explained. Don't start singing Jordan Sparks' No Air just yet. Thankfully, breathing may be the least of future lunar residents' concerns. According to Forzik, the International Space Station's environmental control and life support system has gotten very good at recycling air. A similar system, in conjunction with a few lunar greenhouses to cultivate oxygen-emitting plants, could purify air and send it back through a network of sealed, controlled habitation modules in a lunar settlement, keeping us breathing easy for years. However, in order to start the cycle, we'd have to send loads of those life-giving gases to the moon at least once, which would be costly. Transporting just a pound of material, even air which would have to be pressurized in tanks, to the moon would cost more than $1.3 million. Other serious issues arise from the moon's minuscule exosphere. Because there is no air, there is no wind, and thus no erosion. As a result, the dust particles on the lunar surface, known as regolith, have become especially problematic. Unlike sand granules on Earth, which appear round under a microscope, regolith particles are sharp. Meteorites and solar wind have hammered them, and there's no fluid to wear down those fractured edges. Getting sand out of your clothes at the beach would be a breeze compared to dealing with these ultra-clingy particles, which could wreak havoc on machines and humans working on the lunar surface. Without an atmosphere, there is also no protection from meteorites, which hurtle toward the moon at breakneck speeds, threatening to pierce spacesuits and permanent structures. So if future generations on the moon see a shooting star, instead of making a wish, they'll have to flee for safety. Although a lunar colony wouldn't have to worry about hurricanes or other extreme atmospheric weather events, it would have to prepare for an unseen but extremely dangerous threat: solar storms. Unlike the Earth, the moon has no magnetic field to protect it from highly charged electromagnetic particles emitted by the sun. Even the Earth can't fully protect our electricity infrastructure during particularly intense solar flares, which eject bursts of high-energy light waves from beneath the sun's surface. Without that critical magnetic field, a solar storm engulfing a lunar settlement could be detrimental for human health and infrastructure. To protect buildings on the moon from solar radiation, we'd have to use substances like water or polyethylene, which contain high enough concentrations of hydrogen to absorb the impact of these rogue space particles. According to Musk, moonquakes are another lunar nuisance to be aware of, according to scientists. The moon's ground can shake up to a magnitude of 5 on the Richter scale, according to seismometers left by Apollo astronauts, despite the absence of a plate tectonic system or subduction zones. That's not as strong as some earthquakes recorded in the US, and Sam Courville, a research assistant at the Planetary Science Institute, who has studied planetary seismology, says they're unlikely to pose a major threat to lunar structures. There's also the issue of gravity, which is only about 1/6 that of Earth. Based on what we know about the effects of long-term weightlessness on astronauts, lunar residents would need to exercise caution in order to stay healthy. Because working against gravity is part of what keeps our bodies fit, exposure to microgravity on the ISS has been shown to accelerate bone and muscle loss and cause cardiovascular issues. That's why astronauts on the International Space Station exercise for hours every day to compensate for its absence. While the moon's lack of gravity isn't quite as extreme, Courville believes that living in any environment with low gravity for an extended period of time could be harmful to human health. Musk finally explained. So, with that being said, what do you think of today's episode? Are you still excited to live in the moon? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. We sincerely hope you enjoyed the video. If so, give it a like and share it with your friends and family. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel to see more of our incredible videos. You can also watch our other videos that have been specially selected for you. Look forward to seeing you in the next video.